Hi everyone, Nealay Patel here at Jesse James Beads, and it is my pleasure to bring you Nealay at Night. This is a segment that we have every single Thursday at 6 o'clock Central, and we call it Nealay at Night because yours truly is on here. And my job, you guys, is to bring you fun, quick, simple ideas using the ever glamorous Jesse James beads, turning their beautiful strands into delicious designs that you guys can make at home using some simple, easy techniques that we practice and utilize here on the Jesse James Beads Facebook page. It's always my pleasure to do that, and I'm so lucky to be with you guys and show you some ideas that I have using the newer collections that have been out lately. So the latest one has been the Georgia O'Keeffe that I am so ecstatic. I'm excited about them, and I hope you guys are too. I know y'all have been doing some beautiful works with them, and today I wanted to focus on one of the lines called Wild Canyon, which I think is a very clean, gorgeous palette. I have it here on my table. But before I get to that, I used a palette called the Rose Desert, last week on Nealay at Night. So let me show you guys what we made. We created this beautiful pendant right here. Whoa, I can't turn around. And isn't that just absolutely delicious? Now, these came from, I gotta talk about these feathers for a minute. They came from an earring that we actually cannibalized. We tore it apart, repurposed the materials from it into creating something original and fun and cool. We learned how to use these beautiful bead spacers to create these riveted little center pieces and then glued them onto this gorgeous stone. And of course we got to use that little desert rose there at the top, which is a beautifully carved jade bead. And then we just added some tassels and some beads and baubles to this at the bottom. So overall, I think the effect of this was really funky, cool, came out to be a little steampunk. I threw it on some leather just to give it a nice little rope, and I think the textures just work really well together, and this was so easy to make, you guys. So I really encourage you guys to check it out. I've got the tutorial posted on a couple different places. First is the Jesse James Beads website. So if you go to www.jessejamesbeads.com and hit up the tutorial section there in the top menu, you will definitely see this design and a ton more of beautiful works that I got to show you guys how to create. And all of those are also available on YouTube if you're an avid YouTube user. Just go to youtube.com and search for Jesse James Beads, and you will see all the latest and greatest tutorials posted there, up to date, I promise. And certainly we have a lot of activities and events and tutorials that go on throughout the video, so they're always fun and entertaining, so I highly recommend checking those out. Now, I want to talk about Wild Canyon, so the only way that I could do that is if I flip the camera around and show you guys what I'm working with. I don't really have a design in mind, but I certainly have the beads, and we are going to make something together. So, let me turn the camera around real quick. There we go. So immediately you could see what the palette looks like. As I was saying earlier, I feel like it's a very fresh, clean, and almost neutrals in a way, but you got these beautiful little hints of pink in it. So let me show you the materials here first. This is the strand, one of the strands from Wild Canyon. Now, first of all, I love the name Wild Canyon. I think that's just the perfect name for this palette. This is one of my favorite strands personally. It's got a beautiful little crystal pendant on it attached to the strand, which I've never seen them do before. And then you get these beautiful rose beads. You get some really cool ceramic beads with it. So you could see that there's a ton of different textures. You get these beautiful cage beads. And so I think that this makes itself already perfect for a necklace into creating something. Now with that, I wanted to pair it with a couple other things. First of all is this beautiful bubble chain. Now how gorgeous is that? Look at that mini texture that you get on it. And then these connections and links just makes it perfect for some sort of a necklace rope that I think I'm going to use that with. So I couldn't resist, and I had to pair those two together, right? So lastly, we got the well, this is really a bead mix, not necessarily an inspirations mix, although there's definitely a lot of inspiration in it. And I gotta dump this out, you guys, because there's so many things in here. that are, ooh, including some sparkles, which I think I had last time as well. I believe I used up one of these earrings as, oh wait, no I haven't. I just tore it apart because I wanted to use the feathers on something. Now these were originally earrings, but I repurposed them into components. And if you separate all of these feathers out, this is what you have, which is just absolutely beautiful. And I think this is going to make for an excellent, excellent something. I don't know if it's going to be a necklace or another earring or whatnot. We'll see. Within it, you get some really unusual components, which is fun. There we go. And we got these little cage beads, some tassels. Look at that. I think that's fun. Whoops, got some sprinkles on there. So lots of different ideas and designs come to mind for this. So I think I'm going to throw in a few of these. I like these particular tassels too. They got the beautiful sort of petally look. I think that that's just so awesome, and I want to do something so badly with them. So beautiful mix, beautiful palette, Wild Canyon. I'm going to be using some soft flex wire, and this is the medium size in silver. Whoops, and I think that's a really good offset, particularly with this because we do have a lot of silver components in here. And of course I got some crimps that I'm going to be using, some size 2 crimp, or 2mm by 2mm crimps. So I have those handy in case I want to do something with those. And then I have a few pliers that I'm going to use. Probably my crimpers, so you guys have these handy. These are the Zuron crimpers, and if you've watched any of my previous videos, these are just, I use them all the time. Super excellent, and Jesse James Beads does carry them. So thank you, Jesse James Beads, for making a really smart decision and carrying these pliers, because they are so handy to have, and I absolutely love them. With that, I have a pair of Zuron cutters as well. These are actually my heavy-duty wire cutters. I intended to grab my flesh cutters, but I just grabbed these by accident. However, they do cut very well, and they haven't dulled down even with the wire that I've been abusing them with, and so Zuron, again, makes an excellent product there. So those are the two main things, and then I have a few other tools, but I might not end up using them, so I'm not going to make a big announcement of those. But let's get started. What can we do with this? Well, let's see. I think I love this arrangement, and what I could really use today is a bead board too, but I don't have one of those. Let me get my cutters out and let's start designing something, because I think that this is going to be a wonderfully fabulous piece. And I want to cut this crystal off because I love it so much. There we go. All right. So the first thing, I think I want to do a double strand necklace. I think that would be super cool. And I want to have it on the soft flex and then somehow, whoops, connect that to the beautiful chain. So in order to pull that off, I think I'm going to need some beads from here, obviously. So let's start designing something with this, you guys. I love these as the two big components at the ends. I think that's going to work really well. So let's move this guy out of the way for now and substitute this one in. I'm actually going to reposition myself to get a little more comfortable as I'm designing. There we go. And what else do I want to do? I want to add some rose beads maybe, or I could do a second strand with them. Let's see. I think I kind of like that actually. I think that's fun. I could do a second strand and have this arrangement. I mean, the possibilities are pretty endless here. I mean, I think, though, I like that silver. I like the hit of silver at the top, especially because I've got that crystal that's offsetting that color palette. So let's try and replicate this on this side. So as you can see, my design came fairly easily, and I think that's thanks to how this particular arrangement of beads is already on here. There we go. Put that there. So I've got this cool double-decker design, which I think is fabulous. So now we could kind of start stringing it together. Whoops, that I think came off of that right there. So immediately I got two strands out of that essentially. Now let's do this. Let's go ahead and string this up and see how we feel about it. I'm going to work with about 1.5 feet. so that I don't need too much of this beautiful soft flex wire. I just need enough to kind of give me a good amount of string here. So let's see, let's do 1.5 times 2. And then I could save the rest for another project later. There we go. And crimping is so easy, you guys. You can do crimping in so many different ways. And there is a right and a wrong way, I must say, and it's only because you don't want to crimp it in a way that's going to abuse that little crimp and make it fall off later. There's definitely a specific technique involved, and I will do my best to show you guys along the way of how to do it properly. But you can skin a cat certainly in different ways, although I hate to use that analogy because I am a huge pet person. So no animal abusing. We'll figure out another saying for that. Okay, so I'm going to string this through. Oh God, I love that. Isn't that just, and on that silver, it's just beautiful. String this through. So essentially I'm just unstringing from one strand and restringing to another, and a little bit more of a extravagant beading wire there, but certainly required for this. So there we go. There we go. Pretty easy, I must say. I hope everyone's having a lovely day out there. If you have any questions, please do feel free to post them, and we will do our best to answer each and every one of them. All right, so 1 down, 1 to go. Beautiful. I love a couple things about this from a design standpoint. I've got these, whoa, doesn't want to stay on that at all. Let's see if we do that again. I've got this beautiful balance of these two bigger beads that sort of help this to visually be a little bit better in balance. That I could have it going all the way from small to large as well, but there's something about the color palette that I like, where your eye is drawn to the big pendant, but then is separated because of these 2 hits of color. So that to me is pretty unique. And let's see, it looks like I've got this guy, and then a spacer, and then a bead cap, pearl, bead cap, and then we've got this. So I think on these cage beads, because they tend to be a little tricky, let's go from triangle to triangle and see how that works. So that looks pretty good. It looks well balanced on the thread itself, or on the soft flex wire, so that's important. All right, I'm going to string our other beautiful rose bead on. Again, I'm going to go triangle to triangle there, as you could see. And then another set of pearl cap, cap, pearl cap, all at once. There we go. And lastly, I'm going to put these 2 guys on and move this out of the way. Perfect. Pretty easy so far. Now, because I want my beads to stay in the center, I'm going to measure out equal sides of this beading wire and kind of pinch it in place and see what I like and what I don't like. Overall, I think this is going to make a really great design, and I want to have some of that beautiful silver wire exposed because it is that sterling extreme wire and it's gorgeous, so why not? So now I think I'm going to open up my crimps, and here's a fear that I already foresee. My rose beads might have too big of a hole there where the wire is exiting. So now I can kind of refer back to my other palette. This is why it's important, I think, for the bundles to happen as they do, is because their beads are so, I guess, inconsistent in the fact that some have big holes and some don't. For example, this one. So with this mix, you get a variety that you can actually utilize for different situations. I just happen to find this beautiful little bead here. So I'm going to string that on. And it's big enough to kind of be there, but small enough to disappear, I think. And I think the color helps tremendously as well. So let's go ahead and put this one on. There we go, on both sides. Measure out my beading wire to be the same length, and then I'm going to go ahead and apply my crimps. Now I will have solved a problem in the fact that my crimp won't fall through the bead hole. Since I'm working with limited space here, I'm going to actually just take out as many as I need for the moment. Now there's a couple ways to crimp this. You could certainly do a flat crimp on this, and I think it would work too. And sometimes I like to have a nice concealed crimp, and so there's a couple of tools that you could use for that. Certainly you could use a pair called the magical crimpers, or you could of course go back to your Zoran and just do a folded crimp, and you'll be surprised at how nicely it just ends up disappearing anyway. So let's see if we can do this gracefully. I'm going to just pinch it. And you do this by sticking it in that last notch first with the V shape and just pressing it down. And it'll get to this beautiful little crescent shape. And then all you do is you turn it on its side and you put it in that middle notch. These particular crimpers can actually do 3 different size crimps. And the middle one is used for the 2x2 size crimps, or the 2mm crimps. So there we go. I think that folded up quite nicely and neatly, and you don't really even see it if you're not looking for it. So I think that's a good sign. Let's do that on this side. Okay, and again, I'm just going to string it through. Now, we all have specific types of findings that we love, and I will say I have been using the soft flex crimps for quite a while. So that might be something that you guys enjoy. Certainly, Jesse James Beads has a ton of crimps that you guys can grab as well. So that is totally up to you. There we go. Easy peasy. And it disappeared. You could use a crimp cover for this. I don't think it's really necessary this time. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, let's do the same to this side. Now, it looks like I've got my cap and my bead backwards here, so let's switch that around. There we go. Oops, fell right into my hand. There we are. Great, and I think the hole is small enough on here to where we don't have to worry about that crimp falling through. So we are just going to go for it, you guys. We're going to take these crimps out of the bag. Put some on the table. And we are just going to do a folded crimp on the single wire here. And lucky for us, this beautiful tool here crimps everything in place. Just like that. And you could do it on the single wire without worrying about the crimp falling through. There we go. Perfect. Awesome. Excellent. Isn't that just beautiful already? I love it on the silver wire. I think it just makes the whole palette liven up, pop. Not that it didn't already, but more is more, right, you guys? Great. Okay, so now what I want to do, I want to add in another texture, you guys. And I think what I want to do is have my beautiful bubble chain here hanging it off. The 2 strands hang off of this just a little bit. Just for fun. Let's get a little crazy. Let's get a little crazy and see what happens. So I think what I want to do is, I think I could string them both through this. So let's give it a try. Let me go ahead and gather up my strands and get a good measure for how this is going to curve. So it looks like I need to raise this a little bit higher. And that looks pretty good. So let's go with that. I'm going to string both of them on. And if we're lucky, I should be able to get both of them not only through this, but that crimp as well. Now this is a challenge, so we're going to see if this works. I'm crossing my fingers, although I can't because I need them at the moment. All right, there we go. Got one in. Ooh, I got the other. Woohoo! So that was easy. I'm going to leave it kind of loose for now because I want to measure out this other side and to make sure that, whoops, I don't need to make any adjustments after everything is done and crimped. So let's put this crimp on both wires. There we go. Lucky for us that just happened to be large enough for all of those wires to fit through. That way we had to do less crimping altogether. More designing, less crimping. That's today's lesson. Okay, so let's see. That's my larger wire, and that's my shorter one. So I think that's kind of where I want it to be. You can always hold it up and check it out that way. And ideally, I just want everything nice and centered. So I'm kind of holding it up towards me, which is why you're seeing it off camera. So I do apologize for that. Slight delay. There we go. Okay. So hopefully when I hold it up at the end, everything will be nice and even. And if not, then I'll certainly be doing some stuff after the video. All right. There we go. And put this guy in. Whoops. There we go. Oh, man. Now, if I can do that really easily live on camera in seconds, I know you guys can do that too. Trust me. Oh, my gosh. Isn't that just gorgeous? I get this beautiful... Oh, let's put this away so I don't drop the beads everywhere. I get this beautiful chain with this the Softflex wire hanging off of it. I think I want to tighten it up a little bit and making it a little bit shorter. So let me see if I could do that real quick with you guys. All right. So push that in, pushing that in. You could push them one at a time once you get your position down. Here we go. Yeah, it just needs to be a little bit shorter, so I think that works on both sides. There we go. Cool. Always measure. Trust me. You just never know until you cut it, and then you're just definitely cursing at something. So always measure a bunch of times before you do this. And do straighten up your wires if you can, and when you're happy with it, you're ready to crimp. So again, pushing it into that V-shape notch first, and then turning it on its side. These kind of work if you've crimped with your normal crimpers. It's certainly the same as far as comfort level goes with that. It's just these particular pliers are much thinner, and they do make it much more easier to get into the crimp than I think the normal standard crimpers have, for me at least, before in the past. So, okay, I'm going to put those here at the side. Same thing with this side. Normally I would detach the chain and put a clasp on, but I can certainly do that later on. But I do want to hold this up and show you guys what I made with you here live on the Jesse James Beads Facebook page. And real quick, as I'm crimping and cutting and taking one last look, and then I can hold it up. Oh, so that's fun. Get this beautiful double strand action going. So let me hold it up and see what we have here. There we go. All right, back to me. Now, wasn't that fun, you guys? Made it quick, made it easily, nothing falling or breaking, and I get to just wear this on the way out, or anyone does, really. I think for me, if I would have held it up more, I could have made this strand a little bit short, but no worries, it's all good. Beautiful. Out the door, ready to go. So check it out. Easy, lots of texture, perfect. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial, and we will have this picture posted here soon. And if you love these tutorials, please check us out in many different places. Let me make that announcement where you can find us. First of all, we have 2 shows a week. Nealay at night, 6 o'clock on Thursdays, 6 o'clock Central, that is. And Wake and Make, Saturday mornings, 10 o'clock Central, here on the Jesse James Beads Facebook page. And if you miss any of those dates, we do post to our website, So go to www.jessejamesbeads.com and check out the video tutorial link in the top menu. And on there we have all the up-to-date video tutorials. We also post a link to our YouTube. So go to youtube.com and search for Jesse James Beads, and you will definitely find our tutorials on there as well. And you could certainly check us out on Instagram. So please give us a thumbs up, like us, love us, all of the good bits on any one of those channels. And if you love me, which I hope you do, you could check me out and my brand, SilverSilk and More. It looks like this, you guys. And my big, oh, that's backwards. Let's see if I can flip the camera around real quick. But I am lucky because I get to use SilverSilk and More paired with Jesse James Beads. And let me show you guys what I made live on the SilverSilk Facebook page. We got to make this beautiful cuff together using this beautiful knitted wire, which is what SilverSilk is. And I think you guys might recognize some of these beads. Fun, easy tutorials. We're always bringing you guys fun, inspirational projects. So I hope you check us out, and I hope that I've inspired you this evening, and I want you guys to go out and create. With that, I leave you and have a wonderful evening. Bye.